Welcome, welcome. I have a sense that today people are going to be dropping in here and there. so we're going to just go ahead and celebrate. What was coming to me today is the because when I meditate in the morning, often my cat Allie comes to sit on my lap, and she has the most wonderful purr. She has trills and overtones in her purr. And I was realizing as I'm petting her and I'm meditating that the sound of the purring is entering into my meditation and is giving me that sense of being hugged through my ears. And then I'm also doing my meditating, which is opening space. And I have her on my lap and I have a hand on her. And so I'm feeling, the sense of not only coming to peacefulness inside, but being celebrated and hugged from the outside and with different senses. And so I was thinking that um, just to listen to that and notice that, I mean, when I hear that, it feels like a love scoop to me. So I'd like you to let yourself imagine the kinds of sounds that feel like a hug to you. And so for me, a is a kind of hug, and it's a kind of love scoop. So we involve the arms because we can get into frozenness, and I think particularly right now with all of the stresses and the overwhelm and the chaos that's going on, that if you don't have a way to to settle yourself, that you can get pulled in all kinds of different directions. And so I was imagining you letting yourself do love scoops where you involve your torso. That's the key to love scoops. So it's not love windmills, as you probably know, but because that doesn't really do anything to you except maybe give you a little bit of exercise to your arms. But when you involve your torso, you're giving your whole body the signal that you're giving this attention to you and you can receive it. Plus, it starts to release any fear that's moving around in there. So, as you're doing that, I'd like you to imagine or even create a hmm so that you're letting the love scoop come from your ears as well. So when I get that vibration all the way, I get up into my sinuses, down into my throat. I can feel it in my chest. When you're humming and love scooping, bring your hands into here and notice that you can feel the vibration of the Hmm. And I can even bring my love scoop into back here. Because I've been humming long enough that I can feel it vibrating my whole upper torso. And that's what I want to invite you into is combining the humming and the love scoops so that you're getting that complete for more of your senses than just one. You're getting the love scoop and the hug. So I want to invite you to do that and do it for a couple of minutes while we're getting going here, and then notice how that just shifts your internal sense of presence, your ability to release things, your ability to focus. My ability to focus really gets much more open when I'm not trying to respond to all of these different things going on at the same time. So, love scooping with the is a practice that I invite you into because it also brings you back into your no matter what's going on, I'm here. You're here with yourself. I'm going to be present with you because I'm still seeing stuff on internet of it's time to move beyond fear. And I said, okay, great. How are you going to do that? And so the people are still talking about, just don't pay any attention to the fear. And it just, that misunderstanding that fear is paying attention to you. So if you're not giving attention to actively moving the fear out of your body, that's the that's the soup. That's the water that we fish are swimming in right now. So having a way to go, okay, here I am. Here I am. And when I do this also, I notice that it settles my breath and I just get more calmer, but I get slower. So we're going to be, one of my friends was talking about how, she's so aware of how particularly leaders have been adapting to more and more stress. Like, I can handle it, I can handle it. And that we're multitasking, doing all these things to up our stress level because I can handle it. And I so want you not to handle it. I want you to let yourself go, all right, it's time to take a pause. So if you take a 2 or 3 minute love scoop and wiggling pause where you actually reset. You reset. And then I'd also love for you to just experiment letting your loop of awareness be a hug. Because I notice as I'm moving around in the world right now that I move past people and I can just feel like, oh, that person needs a hug. And so I let my attention, even if they don't notice me, I let a hug go to them because I know their bodies are going to receive it. There was a little tag that I saw on somebody's internet post the other day that said, humans know when other people are looking at them. And my first response was like, duh, yeah. But just to know that people are aware when you're giving attention to them. And so for me, when I'm out in the world, this is one of my practices, is that I'm looking for who, because I've already given myself the hug and I'm present and I'm feeling love for myself. So it's an overflow. And like particularly when I go to the store, I'm going past people and I just give them a little, a little kind of uh, visual hug. Sometimes I add a little as I'm going by them. And if I'm like talking to one of the clerks, I'm letting myself do loop of awareness. And so I'm not just having it be a transaction, I'm weaving connection. And so your loop of awareness, you think it might not be, that valuable or that important, but my experience has been that people really know. And I've seen people perk up and actually pink up from, I'll be like with the clerk and she's doing my groceries and I'm doing my loop of awareness. And then I notice that she starts to move a little bit more. And so it's this little experiment that I do that I invite you into because most people really don't know how drained their energy is right now. So I want to take care of me first, so putting, doing your own, loving yourself first, and then letting that extend. And then it was occurring to me, I'd like to have us take a look at our card for today from our integrity deck. If Michelle, you can bring that up, thank you. And I'd like you to let yourself kind of give a hug to the people who are giving a hug to themselves, and then giving that hug to you with your loop of awareness, using your hands or not, and adding in love scoops to that. So you're letting the hug go out into the painting, the collage, and noticing what you're noticing, and then coming back to you. And, I love the different dynamics in this one. So just notice where your vision wants to go, where your attention wants to go, and then all of the different little nuances, of your attention. And then let yourself wonder, what could this card be about? For those of you who haven't memorized it already from working with your integrity cards every day, as I know many of you do. So I'd like you to, I'm going to continue looking at this and noticing what's going on in you. And I'm going to read first the sentence a couple of times and then the question. I physically turn toward others with open posture and breath so I can sense how my communications are being received. So open posture, I turn toward others with open posture and breath. So I can sense how my communications are being received. So I found that I can remember, and people in general can remember three things. So this is turning toward open posture, breath. And that to me has been very reliable for being open to connecting, both with myself and others. So here's the question: in what ways can I give active awareness to how my communications are landing with others? In what ways can I give active awareness to how my communications are landing with others? So that's a function of loop of awareness. So one of the main benefits of loop of awareness is you get information about how your communications are landing. So if you've opened posture, you've turned toward and breath, and then you add loop of awareness to your conversation. The big benefit is that you can see, oh, that didn't quite land. Let me just ask about that, or let me shift something in me, or let me open up to looking at this from a different perspective so that I'm really enhancing my communication. So let's come on back to the big group, because what I'm aware of, I was wondering, like, what's the most important thing that's going to allow some kind of bridging from the polarities and all the either ors that are going on right now. And what it keeps coming to me is the power of my own listening. That if I am turning toward, I've opened my posture, I've opened my breath, that also is contagious. So we think that only fear is contagious, but presence is contagious. And as you're opening your presence, then it actually begins to um, dissolve the barriers, the boundaries, the rigidity, so that some kind of flow can happen. And even if it's just a different kind of expression or an opening in the body, that begins to bridge the division. And so for me, like in meditation, we talk about back to one, that if you get confused in what's going on, all you do is go back to one. Like if you're counting your breath and you forget your breath, you come back to one. And so for me, our practices that we do on Monday are, for me, my back to one. That they're the things that I come back to because I come home to myself. I'm feeling my own presence, and then my actions come from presence and not from fear. And of course, I do this over and over again. It's not like it's permanent. People think, oh, okay, I've done it. All right. All right. So that was perfect. Now onward to conquering the world. But we forget and we get scared. And so people who say, you're going to move beyond fear, I go, oh, yeah, yeah, great. Okay. You let me know how you do that. And I'm happy to practice it because it's still coming from here. We still have this, I think, very entitled sense that our head and our minds really control everything else. And what I know is that the body always wins. So if you bring your attention to what's going on in your body, then that can filter up to your mind, which can really only work from the juiciness of your body. Otherwise, it's pretty dry up there. So if you're opening up to just what's emerging right now from your own opening, that's almost always for me an appreciation. So then my appreciation follows on my openness and my listening, and then we've started the weaving. And then if I run into those people again, I can come back to that sense of connection with them, and we can begin to build on that. So that's the first parts of our practice. And so let me just tap here for a new combo on our Presence Connect Play app, which I'm imagining all of you do. I'm not sure I see any new people on here, but if there is a new person, we have this wonderful app that's called Presence Connect Play. And it's a free app which allows you to keep practicing the things that we explore in our Monday morning meetings. And I really love it because it gives me it's like a little refresher also. So presence, this is a great way to presence, is to take 3 breaths and change your body posture. So when people say just breathe, like you'll hear on shows where someone's gone into a panic and someone says just breathe, and then they go on to whatever it is they're doing, and so there's never any chance. Excuse me, breathing is more than just talking about breathing. So what's very reliable is taking 3 relaxed breaths, particularly where the in breath rolls on over into the out breath, and then changing your physical position. Because if you're stuck, I guarantee you, your posture is stuck. And so if you take your breaths first, 3 breaths, and especially if you're taking them in a relaxed way, that's going to, take you, probably 30 seconds. And that's enough time for your body to begin to shift. And then if you change your body position, because we're probably in a stress position, you're in your computer position or you're in your zombie on your phone position. But when you open up your physical posture in some way, it could be even just shrugging your shoulders or doing a little wiggle. It doesn't have to be a big deal. It doesn't have to embarrass you in front of others, although I'm very willing to do that. And the more willing you are to do weird things in public, I think the happier life you're going to have. But this one is actually backed by research, which you can find on the website. So connect, oh, I love this. Connect is seeing each other as allies. That's a big one right now. So I'm like, am I willing to see you as an ally? Not yet. And so I start with people that I am willing to see as allies. And am I willing to see others as equals and allies? Because I think those two go together. Because I think one of the big issues right now is the issue of contempt. Because if we put contempt with fear, then we get hate. And if I'm in contempt, I'm holding other people as less than. I could do it with myself too. I can hold an aspect of myself as less than. But if I'm willing to see others as allies and equals, first of all, that allows me to share myself openly. And it was really the major shift that allowed me to have the kind of relationship that I do with Gay today. Because before then, I saw him as my criticizer, that he was in my life to criticize me. And I resisted that, and I made him wrong for that. And blah, blah, blah. And so when I got willing to see him as my ally, I started hearing him differently. So he would say, the key phrase was, he'd say, I notice. And my body would go into this cringe because I just knew he was going to criticize me. So when that started to shift, when he would say, I notice, and I turned toward and got curious, I mean, spontaneously, not making myself. First, I had to choose that. I had to choose to shift from my fear and my cringe into curiosity. But it actually worked. After a while, the whole cringe dropped off and I got curious. So I really recommend the whole intention of seeing others as allies. And start with people that you'd like to have as friends, you'd like to have as allies, but you maybe have some fear for, one reason or another. Oh, and play. Oh, I love this one. Play is turning words into sound. And I highly recommend this, especially for couples who are in a hassle, because and this can be for work partners as well. In close relationship, we know how to trigger others with our words. We know exactly the word that's going to get them. And so if you turn your words into sounds like, So even though it may have the same intention for you, it's not attached to those words, which actually are kind of like little daggers that get in to the other person. So if people turn their whatever the thing is going on into sounds, very quickly they get into play with each other. And I've seen this happen over and over and over again. And for sure, the whole signal of drop the words out, or just having a signal between you, like we're going to drop the words out now, we're going to just play with sounds, is a wonderful way to reestablish play in your relationship, in your close relationship. So, ooh, that was fun. Yeah, so often you probably know that I never know what I'm going to do on these, and sometimes it comes to me in the morning, sometimes the night before. But as I'm looping with you and feeling your energy, we're co-creating this. It's just that the words are coming through me because I've been at this for a long time, and we are co-creating it. So thanks for co-creating with me today. And I wish you a fulfilling week where you can source your own aliveness and your own joy regardless. All right. Until next time, much love.